Hey there, have you ever caught yourself agreeing to be convenient for someone else even when it feels wrong? Maybe you say yes when you want to say no, or you put your own needs aside just to keep the peace, telling yourself it's okay because you don't want to lose everything. If this sounds like you, I want you to know, every compromise against yourself is a betrayal. My name is Name, and today I want to talk to you about why you keep settling for less, what it's costing you, and how to stop betraying yourself so you can start living a life that's true to who you are. If you're ready to stop being convenient and start choosing yourself, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and let's dive in together. I've been where you are. For years, I was the convenient one, the friend who always said yes, the partner who never made waves, the person who put everyone else's needs above my own. I thought that's what made me a good person. I thought, if I'm easy to be around, if I don't cause trouble, people will love me. They'll stay, I won't lose everything. So I settled for less. I'd stay in friendships that drained me, I'd take on responsibilities that weren't mine. I'd ignore my own dreams just to keep others happy. I remember one friendship in particular, with a girl I'll call Lisa. Lisa was someone I'd known for years and I cared about her deeply. But she had a way of making everything about her. She'd call me at all hours to vent, expecting me to drop everything to listen, even if I was exhausted or had my own problems. She'd ask for favors constantly, borrowing money, asking me to run errands for her, and I'd always say yes, even when I didn't want to. I told myself, if I say no, she might get upset, she might leave, I might lose her, so I kept being convenient, settling for less than I deserved, because I was terrified of losing the relationship. But deep down, I was miserable. I felt like I was losing myself, like I was betraying who I was just to keep her in my life. It wasn't until I hit a breaking point that I realized, every time I compromised against myself, I was betraying myself. Today, I'm going to share 5 steps that helped me stop being convenient, stop settling for less, and start choosing myself without fear. These steps changed my life, and I believe they can change yours too. Step 1. Recognize when you're being convenient. The first step is to recognize when you're being convenient. Sometimes we're so used to putting others first that we don't even notice we're doing it. We tell ourselves it's normal, that it's just what good people do. But being convenient often means ignoring your own needs, saying yes when you mean no, or staying in situations that don't serve you. With Lisa, I didn't realize how much I was being convenient until I started paying attention to how I felt. Every time she'd call me to vent, I'd feel a pit in my stomach. I didn't want to talk, I was exhausted, but I'd pick up anyway. Every time she'd ask for a favor, I'd feel resentful, but I'd say yes because I didn't want to upset her. I was telling myself, it's fine, I can handle it, but I couldn't. I was drained, I was unhappy, and I was losing myself in the process. Try this right now. Think about a relationship or situation in your life where you feel like you're being convenient. Maybe it's a friend who always expects you to be there for them, but never returns the favor. Maybe it's a partner who takes you for granted, expecting you to always go along with what they want. Maybe it's a job where you're taking on more than you should because you're afraid to say no. How does it make you feel? Do you feel valued or do you feel used? Be honest with yourself. Write down the moments when you've said yes even though you wanted to say no. The times you've put someone else's needs above your own. Recognizing when you're being convenient is the first step to understanding that you're settling for less than you deserve. You're not here to be everyone's doormat. You're here to live a life that's true to you. Step 2. Understand why you settle for less. The second step is to understand why you settle for less. We often tell ourselves we're okay with less because we're scared of losing everything. Losing the relationship, the stability, the comfort. I settled for less with Lisa because I was terrified of losing her friendship. I thought, if I stop being convenient, she might leave. She might not want me in her life anymore. And then what? I'll be alone. I was so afraid of that loss that I kept betraying myself, kept saying yes when I meant no, kept putting her needs above mine. But settling for less doesn't protect you. It destroys you. It erodes your self-worth. It makes you feel small. It keeps you stuck in a life that doesn't feel like yours. I remember one moment that really hit me. Lisa asked me to help her move on a day I'd already planned to spend with my family. I hadn't seen my family in months, and I was so excited for that day. But when she asked, I felt that familiar fear. If I say no, she'll be mad, she might pull away. So I said yes, and I missed my family time. I spent the whole day helping her, feeling resentful and angry, and when I got home I cried. I realized I was settling for less because I was scared of losing her, but in the process, I was losing myself. Try this right now. Ask yourself, why am I settling for less? What am I afraid of losing? Be honest. Maybe you're scared of losing a relationship like I was. Maybe you're scared of conflict, of being seen as difficult. Maybe you're scared of being alone, of not having anyone. Whatever it is, name that fear. Write it down if you need to. Understanding why you settle for less will help you see that the cost of being convenient is too high. You're not protecting yourself by settling, you're betraying yourself, and you deserve more than that. Step 3. See every compromise as a betrayal. The third step is to see every compromise against yourself as a betrayal. This was a tough one for me to accept, but it's so important. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you ignore your own needs to make someone else happy, every time you stay in a situation that doesn't serve you, you're betraying yourself. You're telling yourself that your needs don't matter, that your worth isn't important, that you're not enough. With Lisa, every yes I gave her when I meant no was a betrayal. I was betraying my own boundaries, my own happiness, my own worth. I'd tell myself, it's just this one time, but it was never just one time. It was a pattern, and that pattern was eroding my self-respect. I remember the moment I realized this. I was sitting on my couch after another long day of helping Lisa, and I thought, why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I keep betraying who I am just to keep her happy? That realization hit me hard. I didn't want to keep betraying myself. I wanted to start choosing myself. Try this right now. Think about a recent time when you compromised against yourself. Maybe you agreed to something you didn't want to do, or you stayed silent when you should have spoken up. How did that make you feel? Did you feel proud, or did you feel like you let yourself down? Now imagine that every compromise against yourself is a betrayal of your worth, your needs, your happiness. How does that change the way you see those moments? Seeing every compromise as a betrayal will help you understand the true cost of being convenient. You're not just keeping the peace, you're giving up pieces of yourself. And you deserve to stop betraying yourself and start honoring who you are. Step 4. Learn to say no without fear. The fourth step is to learn to say no without fear. This is where the real change happens. Saying no is hard, especially when you're used to being convenient, when you're scared of losing everything. But saying no is how you start choosing yourself, how you stop betraying yourself. I had to learn this with Lisa. The first time I said no to her, I was terrified. She called me one evening, asking me to help her with something. I don't even remember what it was, but I was exhausted. I'd had a long day, I was stressed, and I just wanted to rest. Normally I would have said yes, but this time I took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry, I can't help tonight. I'm really tired and I need to take care of myself." My heart was racing. I was so scared she'd get mad that she'd pull away, and she did get upset. She said, "You're always so busy now," and hung up. I felt guilty, I felt anxious, but I also felt a sense of relief. For the first time I'd chosen myself. Over time I got better at saying no. I'd say things like, "I can't take that on right now," or "I need some space to focus on my own stuff." And while Lisa didn't always like it, I started to feel stronger, more like myself. Try this right now. Think about something you've been saying yes to that you want to say no to. Maybe it's a favor, a responsibility, a relationship that doesn't feel right. Practice saying no. Say it out loud if you need to. "No, I can't do that. No, I need to focus on myself." How does that feel? It might feel scary, but it also feels empowering, right? Start small. Say no to one thing this week, something that doesn't serve you. And when the fear comes up, remind yourself, you're not losing everything by saying no, you're gaining yourself. You're stopping the betrayal and starting to honor your worth. You deserve to say no without fear, to choose yourself without guilt. Step 5. Build a life where you choose yourself. The fifth step is to build a life where you choose yourself. When you stop being convenient, when you stop settling for less, you create space for a life that's true to who you are. After I started saying no to Lisa, our friendship changed. She didn't like that I was setting boundaries, and eventually, we drifted apart. At first, I was scared. I thought I'd lose everything, just like I'd always feared. But I didn't. Instead, I gained so much more. I started focusing on myself, on what I wanted, on what made me happy. I picked up hobbies I'd neglected. I started painting again, something I'd always loved but stopped because I never had time. I'd spend hours creating, losing myself in the colors, and it felt so good to do something just for me. I also started spending more time with people who respected my boundaries, who valued me for who I was, not for what I could do for them. I reconnected with an old friend, Sam, who I'd lost touch with because I was always so busy being convenient for Lisa. Sam was the kind of friend who listened, who supported me, who didn't expect me to be anything other than myself. We'd go for walks, talk about our dreams, and I'd leave those conversations feeling lighter, more like me. I also started setting goals for myself. I'd always wanted to take a photography class, so I signed up for one. I met new people there, people who shared my interests, who encouraged me to keep going. Slowly, I built a life that felt good, a life where I wasn't betraying myself anymore. Try this right now. Think about what a life where you choose yourself would look like. What would you do if you weren't always saying yes to everyone else? Maybe it's pursuing a hobby. Maybe it's spending time with people who make you feel good. Maybe it's setting goals for yourself. Write down 3 things you'd do if you weren't being convenient. 3 things that would make you happy, that would feel true to you. Then take one small step toward that life. Maybe it's saying no to something this week. Maybe it's signing up for a class. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend who lifts you up. Build a life where you choose yourself, where you don't settle for less, where you don't betray who you are. You deserve that kind of life, a life that's yours, a life that feels good. Let me share one final thought before we wrap up. After I stopped being convenient, I realized how much I'd been holding myself back. I'd been so scared of losing everything that I was losing myself. But when I started choosing myself, when I stopped settling for less, I found a freedom I'd never known. I'm happier now, more confident, more me. I've built a life where I don't betray myself anymore, where I don't settle for less than I deserve. And I believe you can do that too. Let me know in the comments, what's one thing you've been saying yes to that you want to say no to? How are you going to start choosing yourself? Maybe you have your own stories about breaking free from being convenient. Share them, I'd love to hear, and I'm sure other viewers would too. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll keep working on living a life that's true to ourselves together. Every compromise against yourself is a betrayal. Stop settling for less and start choosing yourself. You deserve more than a convenient life. You deserve a life that's yours. See you in the next video.